What's going on, guys? Destrie here from DestrieMonis.com, where I empower creative entrepreneurs to use simple online marketing moves in order to create a freestyle lifestyle. So today I have a very special guest, Miss Ann Bennett, hailing all the way from Costa Mesa in California. So Ann is actually the founder of Renegade Branding, and she is also an international speaker, a best-selling author, a coach, and a brand profit builder. She's also shared the stage with one of my personal idols, Les Brown, and I'm actually gonna have to ask you for an introduction one day, and that would be super awesome. And visionary leaders such as Sean Stewart, Tanya Hoffman, Mark and Shannon Lawgranger, and Ann actually brings 25 years of experience in the visual and graphic design field and has worked alongside other major magazines such as Popular Mechanics and Vogue. So her personal brand slogan is actually, it's smart to fit in, but it's brilliant to stand out, which encompasses everything that she does in all of her programs. So super pumped about this interview. Welcome, Ann. Welcome to a freestyle session with me today.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to go freestyling with you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So actually, just a backstory for you guys. So I actually connected with Ann at a meetup group in Glendale, hosted by one of my friends, Nahid La Sierra, who got Ann on there as a guest speaker. And Ann, could you refresh my memory? What was the name of that talk that you gave? It was something about Madonna and branding. I can't remember the phrase. What was it?
It's called Brand Brilliantly, Market Like Madonna, and Profit Like a Rock Star.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much.
So much fun. And it's using Madonna as a classic entrepreneur, creative, rock star, obviously a very savvy businesswoman.
Oh, absolutely. When you gave that talk, I was like, I want to connect with her because it's exactly what I want to share with other people. All right, so let's dive right into the questions, Ann. So Ann, before you started Renegade Branding, what were you doing before that?
Well, as you heard kind of in the intro, I was working for other corporations like Condé Nast, everything in the design and magazine storytelling types of divisions. A lot of times people don't understand what designers do or what art directors do.
Yeah.
And I say, oh, I'm an art director. And they're like, well, there's like, what's that? So, what that really means is when there's a story in a magazine, it starts with all these different pieces. It starts with the writing, then choosing the photography or shooting the photography, which would be more art directing.
Yeah.
And then how do you put it together on the page and lay it out with the type and really tell a story so that other people want to read it. I mean, there's kind of a design element to that. So what I really specialized in was telling stories that make people want to read them and find out more.
Oh, I love that. Well, it's because that's exactly how we communicate as other human beings. It's through storytelling that we can actually remember something, especially in a crowded internet space like now.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, I think if you probably know, and I don't know if your listeners do, but memory is all visual. It's pictures. Our mind thinks in pictures. It doesn't think in words. So if you remember something, you start to visualize it first before it kicks in as, oh yeah, my grocery list.
that makes
Like you might picture your refrigerator empty or your favorite dish that you're going to make for dinner. And then, oh, I need this, this, and this.
Yeah.
Make that happen.
That's crazy. Okay. So I know you had a background in, with Vogue when working with Popular Mechanics, but when you were working for these companies, how fulfilled were you doing what you were doing?
Well, I think, as anybody knows, when you're working in a collaboration, I mean, it's great to work in a collaboration, but when you're in the corporate space, there's the pecking order and the hierarchy. And what sometimes occurs, I know for me, I loved working in a constructed space that was like, but you're not as free to be creative.
Ah.
You have to. So even at Vogue, I had to choose certain typefaces that only Vogue uses. I couldn't like go off on a real creative tangent. Right. So there's structures and what to be used and how to be used. And so that limits, I think, the sense of satisfaction. And the other thing about it is a lot of times you're working through stuff. It doesn't work as fast as you want it to.
Okay.
Or your ideas get trashed at the 12th hour. Like, oh, we can't run that because, you know, Elle magazine is running that and they got it out before we did. So then you have to go back and rework.
Oh man. Yeah. I've had a couple of experiences in my, previous role as a corporate sales engineer for an air conditioning manufacturer where, they asked me to create a video and I did because I actually enjoyed doing that type of work, but then ended up never using it. So I'm like, in my head, I'm like, why would I put in all of this effort if they weren't even going to use it in the first place? It was disheartening.
Yeah, I think that happens a lot when you're working in a group setting or in a more of a corporate structure.
Yeah.
You can pour your heart into something. So in a way, it's good because you detach.
Yeah.
You don't get as attached to your work or ego attached to your work, right? You're like, okay, what's next? Boom. So part of that you need as a entrepreneur, that kind of resilience to shift gears and to change focus really quickly.
Yeah, definitely. So I know we talked about all your keynote speech when we first met. We talked about a personal brand. So in your definition, what's your definition of
To me,
brand?
a personal brand is really a representation or a representing of what I call your energy signature, which is something that each and every one of us has, kind of like a thumbprint. There's an energy signature to each person that's an individual thing. And it's a combination of that and taking your talent, skills, and abilities and wrapping it around that essence, because it's really the 1% that's going to distinguish you in the marketplace, which is essentially your personality, your point of view, and how you interpret the world.
Absolutely. I mean, like I shared a little bit about you when we first met about my Freestyle Lifestyle brand. And, it really does. When I created this with my branding coach, Julie Baxter, we started this process probably in the beginning of this year, actually. I worked with her for 6 months, and it wasn't until after I worked with her that I really had nailed down who I was, what I stand for, and how to incorporate all of the things that I love to do in one single umbrella, being my Freestyle Your Lifestyle brand.
Yeah,
and
I love that brand. I love that brand, man. It's all about freedom.
Exactly.
Being creative and making life the way you want it to be, right? Exactly.
That's exactly what it means to me. And yeah, it's crazy that I think today, in this day and age, I think in my opinion, I think everybody needs a personal brand to really stand out in the marketplace.
Sure. I think even people that are working for other people, because there's you and a billion other people applying for the same job, right? But if you understand how you fascinate other people and what you bring of value that's different than someone else, that's really powerful when you're even doing a job interview. So a personal brand can actually set you apart like that.
Absolutely.
Also, I think, I was just listening to somebody talk about trends. I forget what we were talking about, but how people want a cookie cutter. They want a formulaic response for success. And how that is really damping down creativity and innovation because people don't want to fail. And failure, which is so great about failure. I love when I talk to people and they're like, there's no failure. I'm like, what planet do you live on? You know what I mean? But failure is part of success. It's actually an integral part of it.
You have to go through failure to get to success. It's not separate from each other. You have to go through it in order to reach success.
You have to keep that resilience and keep going and keep your inspiration, if you will,
Yeah.
in front of you so that you're like, okay, that didn't work. So what else can I do?
I got to try something else. Never, I forget who said this quote, but then, when you make a decision when you set a goal, don't, make a decision to not do that goal anymore. Change your direction to get there. I'm paraphrasing that, but I can't remember who said that.
Well, you'll find that your direction to get somewhere is not a straight line.
Exactly. It's going to be a zigzag line, really. And sometimes you're going to go backwards and you're going to go forwards.
Yeah. It's just, in my world, there's no going backwards.
Absolutely.
It's all forward.
Absolutely. So, Ann, in your opinion, what is the difference between branding and marketing?
I know we were talking about that a little bit earlier before we got on. And I think the analogy that I love to use is, coffee is your brand.
Okay.
But it goes with cream. So it must be, so when you put the cream in is when it really gets people. Coffee has its own flavor and its own taste. It's a branding kind of thing. Brand is really an impression. It's an experience that people attach to you or to your business. And then the marketing is how you tell people about that.
Oh, I love that. I don't know if you follow any of my my friends, but my branding coach actually describes the difference between branding and marketing is branding, or your brand is your song, and marketing is the microphone that gets you heard.
Right. That's a good way to put that too, because, the brand is like the vision and the basis for how you should build your business. How to communicate what you're going to communicate is based on what the brand is. So in order to have your marketing, your magnification or your megaphone, if you will, to be aligned, you have to really understand what your brand is.
Yeah.
So like there's something, Apple communicates a particular way and Microsoft communicates another way. They don't really communicate the same way or communicate the same thing. Apple is actually communicating about innovation, simplicity, and design. And everybody else is following some other path to get to the same. They're all selling computer stuff.
That is true.
Now they're starting to, the competition closes in, right? It's so interesting. I just saw a story. I was in the movies. You know how you sit in the movies and you see those like not the preview, but kind of before that, there's ads and stuff.
Okay.
And it was an ad for a hotel. And they ended it with, "What's your story?" And I thought that was interesting. It's like, oh, they're starting to tap into this idea that we're all creating stories about who we are and what we do and how we do it. And then, well, what's your story? And I was like, that's kind of cool.
That was
for a hotel. I think it was a Hyatt or something.
Absolutely. I would vibe with that. So yeah, it's crazy. Like, one of the things that I personally actually share with my freestylers audience is the 5 moves to freestyle your lifestyle. Number 1, I always start with telling people you have to create a personal brand. It has to be your first step. And second, then you start to identify who you need to build a following. 3, create valuable content. 4, engage your audience. And then 5, promote products and services that are congruent with your personal brand.
Absolutely.
So, I always start off with that. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on this. What comes first, branding or marketing?
Well, it's really interesting, that we should talk about this because so many people starting businesses immediately go into sales.
Yes, they go straight for the sale.
Run out and go, let me tell you about my product. It's so good. And you're like, yeah. So is everybody else's product. But, because they're not really connecting with their customer, they've got a product that they need to sell. And that's really very, it's kind of, back ass words.
Yeah, it is.
But a lot of people do that, or they're like, Ann, I'm going to shoot all these videos. You probably get this too. I'm going to shoot all these videos. And I'm like, great. So what's your brand? What's your message? What are you talking about? Who are you talking to? And they're like, oh, well, you know, I do this and people should want it. And I'm like, well, so does everybody else. You know, I'm a marriage and family therapist and people should want their relationships to work out. Okay. Or I'm a photographer and, you know, everybody needs a picture. And I'm like, yeah, not so much. Because we are in this crazy crowded marketplace. And now we have all these ways to market, right? As you're aware of, you know, you can do videos, you can do blogs, you can do Instagram.
Podcasts. There's so many other things to do it.
Tons of different things that you can do. And most entrepreneurs want to do it all. And that's what really messes them up.
Yeah. I fall into that trap too as well. I mean, like, I'm a creative type as well. I don't know if you
yeah, I know you're totally creative. Me too. So it's like the creatives are like, oh, what's the next cool thing I can do? Technology I can go get. And I'm like, well, let's go. I mean, branding is sexy, but it's like, you got to look at yourself. Like, you spent time looking at yourself and digging. It's more of a vertical. Digging into what makes you you. Then you have lots of things that you can share and lots of things you can talk about. You can talk about strategies and techniques. You can talk about your mindset. You can talk about books you really love. There's a lot of different things that you can share with people. But when you don't understand your brand, then you're kind of like everybody else.
Yeah, and that actually is a perfect lead into my next question, actually. And so what would you say is the biggest challenge for people and businesses to stand out in this crowded internet marketplace?
Well, from my point of view, people want to focus on their product. They want to focus on their service. And people don't really buy your product or your service. It sounds a little counterintuitive. But people are buying a dream, actually, of a result. It's almost like they're buying your product so they can be a different person. So what they actually buy is their future self, the promise of their future self. So people come and work with me, and the promise of their future self is they're going to have a really strong brand. They're going to have a lot of confidence. They're going to know how to speak about it, and they're going to make money. And who they have to be in order to be that person is not the person usually that comes to me. So there's like this future person. Oh, I want to stand on the stage. Like recently I had 3 signature talks and made $60,000, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to me like, Ann, you know, can I do that? I'm like, why not? I'm not a genius. I mean, I tell everybody I am, but you know, I'm not different than anyone else. But I have dialed in my brand. Like when I talk about brand brilliantly, market like Madonna, profit like a rock star, no one else is talking about that. They might talk about the power of a personal brand, personal branding, why you need it. You know, those things, which I just find like,
no, I know it puts me to sleep as well too. And that's why whenever you look at any of the copy that I write for my Facebook posts, they're all branded to freestyle.
Of course, right? Because you have this cornerstone. It's like your brand is the cornerstone of all of your marketing. So what happens is people get stuck with a brand. They're not sure how they should speak, who they're talking to, how to use their concepts and ideas to come together and really tell that story that's going to attract people to them. People are attracted essentially to your energy.
Love it.
They're not really attracted to your product. You know, everyone comes up to me like, I got this chocolate. If you eat this, you could lose weight. Okay, but I don't need to lose weight. Talking to the wrong person, first of all. Second of all, it's like, you know, they don't ask you anything about you.
Yeah.
What you're up to. They're just instantly marketing.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a reason why I made, you know, the 5th step, promote products and services congruent with your personal brand, because that's the last step of the process.
Totally the last step. So people run with that usually first.
Exactly.
It's like running with strategies and tactics and not understanding that 99.999% of what you do is your mind. It's in your subconscious mind. It's your mindset and what you think. It's your emotions and what you think. 1% is the thing you're selling. 1% is, or it's like 0.001% is the actual strategy for it.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. So just curious, Ann, what 3 tips would you give to people who want to stand out in the marketplace today?
Well, I think the first thing is, and I talk about this and I train on this a lot. The first thing is to look at the overriding essence of your personality style. So are you, I know my talk, I talked about this a bit, but are you like a nurturer? And I use Oprah, you know, are you an Oprah style person? Then how is your copy, your photography, everything that you're presenting? How is it presented in that way? Are you more of a Madonna disruptor rock star kind of type of person? I just saw Bohemian Rhapsody. That guy was genius, okay? Freddie Mercury, genius. And he engaged his audience. He had his audience participate in creating the music.
Oh, I love that.
And that was one of the brilliant things that he did. And for people, when you're creating, you know, another mistake that people make is they create stuff thinking people are going to buy it. You want to find out what your audience wants and create that.
Exactly. I mean,
so it's a little bit different. It's kind of a co-creation.
Find out what people already want to buy and then create a product for it. That's just you
want to actually find out what they're going to buy, because we're smart. I mean, you're really smart, you're brilliant, and a lot of entrepreneurs are. And so they go, oh, people are really going to want this. And then they create it. Then they try to sell it and nobody is buying it, or not buying it in the quantity that they would like them to buy. So I think, you know, the first thing is really understanding your brand and what makes you fascinating to other people. Maybe you're geeky. I love my tech geeks, because that's not a strong suit for me. And so is that something that you talk about as a benefit of working with you? Well, I'm really anal, you know, I love that. I love all those people that like are really detailed, like they're not happy unless everything is perfect. I'm like, oh yeah. I
don't know if you know, like my personality type, it's funny that you mentioned those 2 things, because I am techie, I am an analytical mind, and I'm also a social butterfly. So those are my 3 main, I guess, personality types. And I incorporated all of that into my brand. It's just like, if you looked at, I don't know, are you familiar with the 4 different personality type colors? You know, the blues, your social butterflies,
right,
greens, and analyticals. And so I would be a blue green with a dash of yellow. That's me.
Right. And I think it's important to know and to note that you lead with what other people's perception is of you. So, you know, everyone's like, well, I'm not really an Oprah, or I'm not really a Madonna, or I'm not really a Steve Jobs. And I'm like, yeah, because you're you, which is great. You know, we're just using them as like archetypes as a place to start. But you want to bring in your brand, you want to be, the brand is what walks into the room first. So for me, it's like everyone, I don't even relate to myself as a rock star. And everybody's like, oh, you're a rock star, you're a rock star, you're a rock star. I'm like, okay, I got that. I will present that first. Awesome. Doesn't mean I'm not nurturing. It doesn't mean there isn't, you know, a technical side to me, or a side that wants things to be perfect, because there is, just like with everybody. I think that it's more of your, what I call your strong suit, is what you bring first.
Awesome.
Because that's what people will attach to immediately.
So number 1 was to understand your brand. What other 2 tips would you give to other people?
I would say, in terms of building their brand and their business, you want to look at what stage of business you're in. There are stages to business, and a lot of people are jumping around, and so they're not getting results as quickly as they could.
Okay.
The other thing about your brand is you want to make sure that how you speak and who you're speaking to. So if you're a doctor, you're probably not going to come in like a rock star.
Yeah.
You will, but it's a different type of rock star. So, there's certain people when you can understand your client, you can come in as a doctor rock star if you're an alternative doctor, right? It's all alternatives and people are looking for innovation and new ways and new approaches. But in classic, when we think of a doctor in classic Western medicine, you can still kind of come as a rock star. Like my heart doctor had like really awesome shoes.
That's awesome.
But I think, you want to really consider who your favorite clients are. Like yours are creatives, mine are creatives. Mine are really people that even want to be more creative, like want to bring their personality to their business or understand they need to be different than other people.
Absolutely. Yeah, my target audience is actually creative entrepreneurs. So I like creatives who have some sense of business. That's my ideal target audience.
Right.
And it's exactly what I want.
It's like, it's conscious. I call them conscious creatives.
Okay. People
that have an openness to different ways of thinking. Like I was saying, 99.999% of what you do is your mind.
Absolutely. It's
not strategies and tactics. If it were, we'd all be like rich and famous and skinny and gorgeous. You know what I mean?
Definitely. So just to recap, Ann, so it was understand your personal brand. Number 2 was look at what stage your business is in. And number 3, know who you're speaking to.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Really important.
Right, and so I'm going to have to, I love talking to you, but I'm going to have to cut this.
I'm looking at the time myself.
We get into flow, and that's just our creatives. We just want to be able to deliver more value. But Ann, where can people go to check out your content or work with you? What are your social media handles and your websites?
Well, I think, I love people to reach out to me on Facebook, which my personal site is Ann P. Bennett on Facebook. If you go over to the website, Renegade Branding, I give a lot of really cool freebie things like client getting brand and how to network and different things like that. So there's a lot of info to people, but I would love it if people just message me on Facebook because I like instantaneous stuff.
No, I agree. I'm going to have to connect with you offline because I know how to build bots.
Oh, yeah. We got to talk about that bot thing.
We'll connect offline on that.
Friend with a bot.
Awesome. So, Ann, I wanted to acknowledge you for all of the hard work that you do with Renegade Branding to help people stand out in the marketplace by just being authentically themselves. And I have a gift for you. I know you know that I do videography a little bit, right? So I would love to create a freestyle your lifestyle video for you to capture your freestyle, whether that be speaking, your personal life, or your business, and use that video for you to help you further your brand and help you get, more awareness on what you do best. So I would love to create a video for you. And
I'm honored. That's really wonderful. Thank you so much.
At 50% off, though, I can't do it for free.
I was waiting for that. That's good. No, that's good.
Awesome. And you can use it as a promo for your marketing efforts, and I'd love to be able to do one with you.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I would love to do that. I shoot a lot of my own videos, so it's time for me to allow someone else to bring their expertise.
Yes, I would love to do that for you. All right, final question for you, Ann. What does a freestyle lifestyle mean to you?
To me, we're all in business doing what we do, especially creative people, to be more creative, right? To be more expressive, to allow yourself to really expand into your creativity. And I think for me, a whole freestyle lifestyle is bringing all of the dreams together and allowing them to play out and exist in the same space.
I love that definition. I love it.
Good, you have it on record. You can pull it out later and mark it.
I got it. I got to record it. Awesome. So, well, there you have it, guys. I hope this has been valuable for you guys. Make sure that you share this out if you found this content valuable for you guys. And if you want to help other people who don't have a personal brand, make sure that you get connected with Ann at Renegadebranding.com or Ann AnnBennettMarketing.com. So also make sure that you connect with her on Facebook, because that's where she hangs out primarily. So do make sure you get connected with Ann if you're looking for help in this area. And I like to end my lives and all of my content like this, Ann. So till next time, freestyle your lifestyle.
Awesome. Bye.
See you, Ann.